Thank you everyone for joining. So already the discussion has started with Vasu. That's good. So we have lots of questions answered. Nice. So feel free, any questions you guys have, because we're really here to answer your questions. So we have some materials to present, but the main thing is that to see what are doubts and questions and inquiries you have. That's that's our focus. So feel free to basically even, have questions even in the middle. Doesn't really have to, you don't have to wait until the end. We have divided this short talk in, a few sections, right? So basically I'll talk a little bit about industry. Myself, I have a more than since 1998, I've been in as a software engineer in various positions, various roles, and in the last 5 years here being the managing this department. But so I'm very well aware of what the industry currently is, what's going on, what's the demand, what type of skills you're supposed to know. So that's really and our focus is to really have our program always to be sometimes one step even ahead of um, even the needs of the industry. So there is lots of technology that you really need to learn, right? So that's one of the things about IT industry. There is lots to learn, right? So our focus is on software. Our program is a diploma. It's a very compressed type of program. So we'll try to really cover as much needed for a junior developer, software engineer. When it comes out of our program, we want them to be familiar with most of the current trends, at least be able to function as a junior level. So we have courses that covers cloud technology. At the beginning, you learn a lot about programming. So we don't assume you know any programming skills, but we assume you'll be very, mathematically minded, logically oriented. That's really the main, and have a lot of interest to learn. That's our main really requirement in a sense. So current trend, as I said, is clouds, is distributed technologies, distributed apps, distributed applications, AI, right? That's what's currently is driving many of our courses. We are concentrating more and more on having AI aware courses. So we are adjusting our various courses to use AI in a way to present it, to use technologies, use softwares, use programming languages, so we have a dedicated course, for example, to AI. So that's for a diploma program. That's usually is not very, normal to have that type of concentration, but that's one of our advantages. We can basically adjust our program as we go. We don't have to answer a lot of, predetermined schedules and course loads and materials. Mobile technologies, right? That's another thing. Web development, that's our entry points. We get you guys to become aware of web technologies from in the first couple of terms, right? So going to next slide, let's see. We have a few slides that shows what's the current demand and thing. These really datas gets out of date very quickly. So I don't really want to spend much time on what is needed, what's current trendy. This is from a last couple of years ago, so that shows just the growth in demand for various software engineering roles, from IoT software developers, from web and from cloud SaaS technology. These are various terms that you will get familiar with, robotics, right? That's we don't have a course on robotics. We don't have such, but we do cover the base technology, which is machine learning. That's we have, right? So that's so the demand for software engineers, despite some trends that they think that's not going to become as crucial, but really demand will be even higher. But they want people that are aware of how to use AI. Not that's really that's something that's you need to any program you go, you need to really get yourself checked to see what they are presenting, right? So classic software engineering is changing. So but this change is for better, means you become more efficient. Or once you learn the basics, the fundamentals. Okay, let's go to next slide. Yeah, so that's again, this is about how this workforce in high tech is changing, right? This is one of the most high tech is one of the most liberal, most inclusive domain. So it's a field that you can basically be creative as much as you have time and you're willing to put in it, right? Because there is lots of areas to go forward. Many of our graduates, some of them are graduates actually, they go and start their own business, they start their own company, and they develop some when they are students, they develop some projects that they think, oh, I can, we can work on it and make it commercial. So there is lots of flexibility once you have these type of skills to work for a company, or even at the same time on the side, yeah, work on an app, work on an application that you think there is a good potential for it, or right. We are this is a field that's really hands-on experience during learning. It's very, very, very crucial, right? That's how our labs are set up. Our courses are all basically lab oriented. You're doing whatever you're learning, you're practicing it, you're exercising it. Our instructors are all from either industry, or they have been doing teaching IT for a long time, so they know exactly how somebody that is starting in this field, how they should learn the skill, not just by lecturing but by doing also. Okay, let's go to next. This is the same. It's just that some of the jargon, some of the fields in this, some of the topics that you will learn about, right? We have courses to cover the basics of cybersecurity, cloud computing, data science. These are all fields that there are high demand for it. So we do want our students to, when they go out, to be employable in any of these fields as a junior developer, right? Uh, I am talking about, keep mentioning junior, because one of the changes that is happening, so you should be aware of, is uh, with the last couple of years, AI becoming more and more widespread. AI has been we as a software developer, we have been using basically AI-based assistance for a long time. We always, when we say AI, the way you use ChatGPT, right? Well, we've been kind of doing that for a long time. Well, hell, having a access to web to basically help us with our development. But now this trend has become more widespread, more structured with these type of apps. So that's what does it mean for somebody that is entering in this field is uh, you need to be really efficient in using these apps, and you need to have a deep knowledge in the field, right? Having an AI assistant is not going to replace you, right? Whatever AI code writes, somebody has to check it, right? somebody has to integrate that code into the bigger application. Someone needs to understand what that code is. So that means you don't have to write all those lines of code anymore, because you can just ask an AI assisted application like a Copilot. I don't know. So if you will learn about this, to write the structure for you, but then you have to fill it up. You have to check to see how. So that what's the point is, you need to really be having a deep knowledge about the topic, not just being able to write basic code. Right? That's one of our focus in this program. Right? We don't just teach the basics. Some of the challenges that's really in a high-tech education that's been, you see here. Um, it's a very big industry, so, and it's becoming even bigger. So for some, so for those people that they enter into this field, they are, you know, genuinely curious people. They like to learn every day during the work, the whole life. So this field then is for you, because that you can never ever cover even half of the fields, even if you're spend even your free times learning. That's what I'm doing now. After 25 years, I'm still just like a novice. I'm learning a lot of new stuff every day almost. You need to be in this field productive. That's the thing, because it's a very creative field. So if you work for yourself or work for a company, they expect you to be productive. That means you can't just be curious and doing various things, but you still have to produce and to add value to the company. So that's not very easy to be on both sides, right? Um, any program you enter, you really have to make sure this program is very cohesive, very, has a focus. That's our goal in this program, to be very focused. Versus some other institutes that they provide lots of various courses, and the student has to go around and just pick things, and at the end they say, okay, you took 7, you take 15 courses, that's good, so you can graduate. But there is no really focus. It's up to the students to do those type of research. But usually when somebody starts, doesn't have really much knowledge about what's going on. So we are really, in that sense, we are very coherent. We have a very coherent program. We like our students to learn from industry experts. That's how our instructors are from industry, many of them, or they have a long history in the industry until recently. So and we like our courses to be very hands-on. Again, I mentioned it. That's how our courses are, right? So you don't see really much lecture-based courses. There is a few, like workplace. Let's say there is a course called workplace behavior, and so that's more lecture-based. But even then, you still have to do a couple of presentations in the class. Right? And also, we want our students to learn how to work together, because teamwork is very important. Anywhere you go, they expect you to be a team player. So it's very good to be able to practice it in your study. And that's another one of those focus points for us. So this is a diploma again, right? So we are just got into agreement with getting into agreement with some other institutions that if you like to continue after this diploma to go to bachelor and more, you can actually transfer all your courses to there as a block. So then you just do, one more year or year and a half, and you finish a bachelor if you're. But our focus in our program is to get you ready for industry, not as a just academic base to continue after that. If that's really what you want to do, you want to really go, academic direction, there are other programs that they are more focused towards it, right? So there is a transfer program in VCC even that will transfer into SFU, for example, bachelor programs. So maybe that's more, you can do similar thing with our program, but I'm saying our concentration is on, on becoming job ready after 2 years. Our program is 2 years, as you already have discussed. This topic has been discussed at the beginning. It's officially 5 terms, but you really have to work hard to finish it in 5 terms. Okay, so that's not many students. They take one extra term just to take a little bit easy and learn things deeper. And um, so in the first couple of terms, you go with the flow, but then after that, you can actually a little bit be have more flexibility. You can take less courses, or you may some courses you may something happens and you fail and you have to do it again. So there is lots of things that may change the length of the program for you, which is, remember, this is not a 100-meter race. You don't want to just finish it very quickly. The thing is, you want to, when you finish, you want to feel you are really have enough skill to be employed, right? That's really important thing. Um, as you see, we have two start dates, January, September. So, for example, for you guys, probably you are the fastest you can get into our program is our September intake. If not, then you can apply for our January. These are the two entry points that we have. Okay. Um, I already talked about these topics. Some of the features of our environment, our learning environment. We have our state-of-the-art labs that are specifically for us, for our program. We have our own corner of VCC campus for us in a small corner. But these are specialized labs that are designed specifically like a real work area for, if you were working in a company, sitting, having at your desk dual monitors with the best computer. And um, what else on this list that we do have we have a little bit of flexibility sometimes, some of the sessions of a course to be conducted online. But the main thing is our program is in person, means you are expected to be available to be in the class. As Sandra was saying, we try to organize our courses in a way that when you come to campus, you have at least one, at most of the time, a couple of courses to take. So each class is around 3.5 hours or so. So it's a long, because it's a lab-like course, right? So there is lots of activities to do. It's not that you're sitting there for 3.5 hours watching somebody's talking. This is not a social science program. So it's very lab oriented. Means often you don't even notice how time passes. Um, the time of the classes, it varies. For the first couple of terms, it will be during regular week days, Monday to Friday. But once you get to term 3 and more, it's sometimes that's the course even can be present, have a Saturday class. One of the restrictions that we have, because our instructors, we want them to be from industry, is they are not always available all the time, right? They are not, it's not the only thing they do. They are working usually as a team lead or a senior developer or in the industry. So we have to a little bit adjust to their schedule because we want to have them in our team, right? We want them to be teaching you firsthand. They are kind of your industry connection at the same time, right? So we also have a career development kind of courses that help you with preparing your capstone projects that you can use as on your resume, helping you with preparing your resume. So we have many project-based courses, especially in the last 2 terms of the course program, that you develop projects in course either as a team or some of them individually. So when you finish this program, you come up with having having lots of demo code, things that you can show to an employer. Say, hey, these are the sample works I have done. This is some web development. This is some back end. This is a Windows application we developed with them. So there is lots of things you can show, not just some courses you've taken. These are some of the softwares that we use, that's we heavily use because we are concentrating more and more on data science and on AI and machine learning. So Visual Studio Code, I don't know if you have done any basic programming in your, maybe in high school. It's one of the most common, popular development environments for coding, right? PyCharm, GitHub. So these are all things you will get very much familiar with as you go through this program. We have subscription to Microsoft softwares, so you can use pretty much most of the Microsoft softwares, development softwares, I mean, free, because we have subscription to it through Azure. So we also have subscription to VMware for virtual machines. You need to be familiar with virtual machines. So some of the courses are actually run through VMs. If you're not familiar with VM, it's totally fine. Okay, I'm just mentioning it. But you will learn some of the most live languages, how to program in them in this program: Java, JavaScript, C Sharp, Python specifically. We start with Python, C Sharp, C++, right? Database. So these are all kinds of things. Right now probably is just words for you, but they are things you need to be really familiar with as you go. So at the end, you can actually start as a full stack developer. If you look for a job, you see there's lots of demand for it. So okay, next, and so these are just some of the sample courses we have, and just the some of them, just to kind of these are like you will start with the computer system administration, just teaches you the basics of computers and how they work, and how to basically all the various components, how do they work together. Basically, it gets you familiar, starting from assuming you don't hardly know, just you're a basic user of a computer, to somebody that can actually put together a computer together, update, change components to it. So then we have Intro to Programming, which is in Python. It's a very big course, so you will probably spend 8 hours a week just in class, and probably the same amount at home doing assignments, doing projects, right? Website development, data communication course. So you see these terms. These are all. We don't really have any, just courses to fill up the program, because it's, as I said, it's very compressed. We want you to really get the value of the money you are spending, as that time you are spending in this program. It's important to, when you come out, you be well equipped. So employment goals, I already mentioned it. So I'm just here, just you see the list. You can work at as a generic software engineer, right? In many of the companies that we have in Vancouver. For any of them, you will be applying as a junior, as somebody that has, but but at the same time, you will mention it on your resume. You will have to say that you have a lot of experience developing, not just taking courses, right? So mobile application developer, both on mobile, web developer, full stack junior developer. Yeah, so these are all roles that you can apply for. That's our goal. We want our students to be basically have as much option as possible without making it too shallow, right? Because each of these topics you need to have easily work a couple of decent projects in it during your courses to be able to feel comfortable, say, yes, I can work as a junior developer in a, let's say, in a browser application development, or back end. So these are all terms you will get familiar with as you go through the program. So I guess these are things you have seen, but just let you know, these are requirements for admission. You need to have a grade 12 or equivalent, right? English, you need to be able to communicate. I remember this is a IT, this is a CS, computer science program. So it's not a social science. Your English, you need to be able to communicate your ideas. Yeah, but we're not asking you to write essays and things. So your English doesn't have to be, but it has to be basic enough that you can understand what's going on in class. So, and all the courses you have to get at least 60% to be able to pass. 60% is C. But of course, the goal is that you do better, than that. And also the math, right? It's important that you have a strong. We have 2 math courses that, the first one is really reviewing a lot of high school math in a very, very short amount of time. But then in the second one, all the maths you need for AI and for, would be covered there in machine learning and stuff. There is lots of math there, calculus there. So these 2 courses gets you really up there ready, but still you need to have a good, inclination towards math. And so high school math is perfect. If you have really done good in your high school, you should be fine totally, right? And we have equivalency test if you're coming from somewhere that's you don't have exactly the same degrees. There is a test you can take for calc or math in VCC that is equivalent. And there is also similar exam for English. So ask any question later from Sandra or from VCC's admission. They can answer you generic questions like this. These are some of the characteristics. I already have talked about this. So you should really kind of, you should feel you have many of these, or at least you have a tendency toward, right? This program is about coding, about problem solving, about developing applications. So I have a logic. You need to have a kind of logical, critical thinker mind. Working long hours. This is some assignments may take long, and everybody works differently. All right. Some people are a slow learner but deep learner versus some others that they learn something quickly, but then they are not as, so everybody's different, right? So you need to really put aside, at least you can, even though in our program you can actually work. It's as I said, our hours, probably during the week, 3-4 days or every day, but then you have easily 2 days sometimes free to work. But the thing is, in the first 2 term, I really don't advise it because you have a lot of work to do. You don't want to fail any course in the first 2 terms. It's not that it's totally horrible, but then you have to, then you kind of fall behind, right? So it's important to really put enough time to really build the basics, build the foundation in the first 2 terms. So to make it life easier when you get to the more advanced courses. Yeah, so I'm sure you're familiar with those other ones. So any questions with that, feel free, right? We are here ready to answer any logistic, any the mechanic of the program, admission related. Sandra and I will be happy to answer.